Hey you, did you hit up my Patreon and subscribe star yet? Not only are you gonna get the long paints of all the stuff that I do on this channel, but you get to see this month's exclusive video on the Kanka Sisters. So if you're curious as to what that is, definitely hit up either Patreon subscribe star. And of course, let's get on with the video. What's good, people? Agent Juice reporting for duty. Rita Repulsa, the first villain of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Not only was she their first villain, she was my first villain. Yes, Rita was the first time I ever saw the concept of the supervillain on anything, whether it be a cartoon or a movie or a comic book or whatever. And even to this day, despite seeing many iterations of many kinds of villains, I find Rita to be one of the great archetypal examples of a super villain. If you really think about it, she has everything. She has an evil lair. She has evil minions. She has an evil laugh, even has an evil catchphrase.
Magic wand! Make my monster grow!
And so it was only natural that I steal a bit of her thunder and put it into my own villainous character, Velicia, from my cartoon Schneeevil. So without further ado, let's go ahead and buckle into our favorite moon base. Let's go ahead and make little putties to send off to beat up those bratty teenagers. Let us cast some magic and make our monsters grow so that those giant monsters can smash the like button and then get smashed up by the Megazord. And let's go ahead and talk Rita Repulsa. So here I am once again, back on my my funny horse, drawing my OC Velicia Donut Steel from my cartoon Schneeevil. And this time she is cosplaying as Rita Repulsa. So in this particular image, I'm having Velicia make a cheeky comment about Rita's pointy bustier that she wears. Funny thing about that piece of garment, I never noticed, despite how protruding those things are, I never noticed that Rita wore those things until looking up the reference material to draw this picture. So this entire time, I wasn't aware that her cans were so pointy. So that kind of amuses me. I found it cracks me up. I guess because Rita's overall design is so big and bombastic and pointy anyway, that it just kind of glossed over. But I figure I'd make mention mention of it for the sake of this drawing. Oh boy, Power Rangers. Man, oh man. I could make a full video about Power Rangers, and I probably will one day. It deserves it. And the reason why is because Power Rangers essentially was my first love. You see, Power Rangers was the first thing that I watched that I felt like was made for me. I probably saw cartoons prior to it, and I thought like, ha, look at the funny bunny and the funny hunter with his funny gun and funny violence. But Power Rangers were the first time something ever resonated with me. You know, it was so cool with all the flying colors and the cool suits and the kung fu and the magic and the technology. It is the ultimate nostalgia trip for me to reminisce about Power Rangers. But for the sake of this video, I want to specify on Rita Repulsa. All right, I wanna focus mainly on her. And the great thing about Rita Repulsa is that she's so cut and dry. She has a very simple goal. She wants to conquer Earth, right? She says it in the opening sequence of the Power Rangers theme song, right? That's her whole job. She's got this great lair that she has. She has these minions. She plots and schemes. She wants to take revenge on Zordon for something that happened eons ago. And she's this great simplistic villain. You know, it's perfect for little kids and like baby's first villain. You know, it's a nice template to work from. And of course, the actresses, because there have been multiple actresses who have portrayed Rita Repulsa, all of them did stellar in making her this great bombastic character who can really ham it up on screen. So, good on them for doing that. That being said, if there's one thing I can really praise Rita Repulsa on, is that she has a great look. She has amazing aesthetics. Rita Repulsa and her gang of miscreants all look amazing. Okay, it is amazing set design. It's amazing costume design. If there is anyone who slays it in the looks department and in the presentation, it is Rita Repulsa. Yes, there are some, villainesses who dress more provocatively and scantily clad than Rita. But Rita doesn't need all that, you see, because she likes to be big and loud. Emphasis on loud. She wants everyone to know that she's there and she's there to slay. She's there to conquer. And that bombastic presentation is something I want to pick apart and, of course, put into Velicia. Kind of the funny thing, when I really think about it, speaking of presentation, that Rita Repulsa reminds me of is, of all things, Megamind. Because the character, Megamind, in the movie Megamind, is all about the presentation. He's very big on having these big villainous entrances. He's very big on having big villainous speeches. It's all about that slam dunk imagery. And of course, even in the climax of the movie of Megamind, when he's, fighting his own creation that kind of turned on him in the weird, unexpected way, his method of shock and awe was presentation. And I feel like Rita Repulsa excels in the presentation of evil, right? This concept of this great unstoppable force that I have discussed in earlier videos discussing villains that Velicia has cosplayed as. And building on that thought, here's the interesting thing I find about Rita Repulsa. I have discussed in the earlier villain cosplays of Velicia videos that I've done, namely Wuya and Buttwitch, that villains I find very fascinating are villains that are portrayed as forces of nature that are seemingly unstoppable. Now, in the case of Buttwitch and Wuya, they are both shown as these unstoppable forces. They have an immense level of power. They have an immense level of confidence. Now, here's the funny thing about Rita. Rita, in the show of Power Rangers, is sometimes shown as bumbling. She's not always on top of her game and super threatening. She'll crack jokes, she'll have arguments with her minions. That bumblingness is something I've mentioned time and time again that I want to put into Velicia. And so it's kind of funny looking back on Rita Repulsa, realizing that I probably subconsciously pulled a lot more than I initially thought from Rita Repulsa. So if there's one character that Velicia probably, or I should say one villain, right? If there's one villain specifically that Velicia resembles more than anyone, it's probably Rita Repulsa. Rita Repulsa can put on this big show. She's really good at putting on a big show of being this seemingly unstoppable force. But the funny thing is that we're able to kind of look behind the scenes and see that not everything is always going Rita's way, when she might get into like a little spat with one of her minions, or she might bumble in some amusing way in one way, shape, or form or another. So that's kind of like, that's essentially what I'm trying to gun for with Velicia. With the exception, of course, is that Rita is supposed to be the primary antagonist of the before Lord Zed, right? Of the early Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And of course, Velicia is supposed to be protagonist. But it is kind of cool that I can look upon Rita and steal, right, because great artists steal. We have to steal from multiple sources, otherwise you're a hack. So as proof with all these Velicia cosplays, I am stealing from multiple sources, but the point is, there's a lot to steal from Rita, and I'm kind of happy about that. So I'm going to pull a villainous move myself and steal a good deal from Rita Repulsa. Yes, Rita Repulsa may be simplistic. Yes, she may come from a show that is meant for little kids. But I feel like she is a timeless classic of a villain. She really has the presentation of a classical villain down to a T. She's got the minion, she's got the lair, she's got the laugh, she's got the lines, right? She is a great performer, a great villainous performer. And in a way that makes her wonderfully timeless. And that wonderful timelessness is something that I, and I'm sure many, many, many creators, are always striving for, because that is how we will outlive our mortal coils, is our legacy, our stories that we tell, our ideas that we share to the world. And it would be great for Velicia to be one of those timeless classics, just like Rita Repulsa. So with all that said, let's go ahead and wrap it up there for today. All right, you people know what to do. Go ahead and tickle those sacred buttons if you like what you see and you want to see more. If you want to go ahead and have a chit chat, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. And remember to share this video. If you're on minds.com, go ahead and hit the remind button. If you're on YouTube, then use the URL like a like a minion. Of course, remember the Patreon subscribe star if you want to see the long paint version of today's speed paint, and if you want to see the monthly exclusive videos. And of course, if you wish to stalk me elsewhere on the interbus, you can go ahead and hit up my links here on the screen. And of course, this is the part where I always mention Minds.com because it's the alternative website, and I always like to promote the alternative stuff. But anyway, with all that said, I thank you for spending this time with me. I do hope you all stick around. And until next time, deuces.